Fnatic and Aerowolf.
So Aerowolf being on defense, of course, they're going to get the first attacking ban, and let's see what it is. They obviously have done their homework. Both these teams are so well practiced, and what on earth am I seeing here?
Yeah, so this is a classic. Aerowolf have, I reckon, one of the best Montaigne players in the world, full stop. I mean, Pengu can take a breath for a second because Lunametal is one of the best players for Monty I've ever seen.
Well, now let's see what happens over here. Sorry, that was a Fnatic ban, it seems, blue team. Now, Thatcher being banned by Aerowolf, they love banning Thatcher. They've done it so many times. And of course, Mira ban, when you start banning Mira so much, eventually you start making strats without Mira, and then you just realize you don't know how to play with a Mira.
Yeah, well, another thing that's significant about the Mira is that it's a very much a comfort pick for Lusty on Fnatic. He's very comfortable to bring out even impromptu Mira windows, not the standard static objective-based ones, but little ones that you throw in there to throw off the enemy team every now and then. They did that in their match against Wildcard during the ANZ Pro League season on Coastline. Proved very effective. So smart ban for Aerowolf. And so far, I like what I'm seeing from both of these teams. Good research, and I'm also really liking that Fnatic have decided to ban that Montaigne, because last time these guys played against each other, Lunametal went ham on Fnatic with Monty, and it was only at the very end of the final map when Fnatic started to employ some effective counters to that. So to kick things off, we've got Fnatic in a comfort zone where they won't have to deal with that shield, and Lunametal can't fall back onto that if plan A fails.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and this is the first Monty ban all season from Fnatic. They haven't been banning Monty at all. And now, of course, I was going to talk to you guys about one other ban, the defensive ban from Aerowolf. We were talking about this earlier on, Dev, right? Virtue, his stats on defense, he's played 54 rounds, this season, including at Rally, and 40 of those rounds have been only on Jaeger. The rest of his stats on defense aren't that great.
It begs the question, why don't you ban Jaeger against Fnatic? But
will it work?
The thing is that Jaeger is not just a fragging operator, a comfort pick. Jaeger is so much more than that. He is completely unique on the Rainbow Six defensive lineup, and he is the only operator that can counter projectiles. Frag grenades, stun grenades, you name it, all of those projectiles lumped in together. He counters that, and if you ban out the Jaeger, you're going to have to deal with all of those projectiles abusing you on the defensive side. That said, we do have a lot of good operators on the attacking side still left in to put the defense on the back foot, namely Capitao, very strong operator since his significant buff. Not utilized so far, but we do have the Jackal and IQ to get a lot of information. Jackal to spot out those roamers, IQ to spot out that utility. I do like this lineup from Aerowolf, and so far, half a minute subsided. It looks like they're just going to generate as much information as they can on this north side of the map as they push towards Aviator Games Room.
That's right. It's an early drone game from Aerowolf coming out. Now, Ysera on Buck is not something you see too often, but, let's see what happens. Now, of course, on the top of the screen, Fnatic are the blue team, but they are defending first, so just get adjusted to that. Aerowolf on attack on the right-hand side of your screen on the overlay. Speakeasy as a Zofia, he loves playing this operator as is his most favorite operator anywhere. Lunametal 6-pick onto Maverick might have been the better choice, and right now, Hysterics, he's going to get punchy with the Jackal ping. He's not going to find anyone just yet, so good establishment of the map control by Aerowolf early on. Let's see what they can do with this. They're getting a lot of information.
Fnatic are engaging a very, very heavy roam with two players downstairs contesting as Aerowolf try to pinch. And Aerowolf are trying to force the issue, take out these roamers downstairs. I'm not sure that's the wise choice. Yes, they do have vertical potential with these C4s and such, but it's exactly what Fnatic want. Fnatic want Aerowolf to push them. They've already done a lot of health damage onto the attackers as they're beginning to push on down towards these defenders. Speakeasy trying to pinch this player on the red stairs, but good coverage from Magnet, a refrag there. Virtue goes down, but Magnet's going to keep peeking this with the Maestro on site. Speakeasy needs to nail this shot. Rizraz and Specker both find frags. Aerowolf falling apart. It's all on Speakeasy. He's found one, but this will have to be an ace here. Double kill for him so far. No diffuser in tow. 3 more players to find. He spots out the Cade on site. Does one little niggle of damage, but a C4 to close it out. And there you have it. Fnatic, a really strong start here on Villa.
Fnatic running a very, very tight ship here on defense. You can see those C4s. They had to do the roam clear downstairs. Of course, it didn't work out well for them. Couldn't quite see what exactly went wrong. But, you talked about the roam clear being a bad choice. I don't think it was essentially a bad choice, but yeah, the execution clearly didn't come off. The C4 presence is too strong from Fnatic, and Aerowolf, one of the most practiced teams against Fnatic in both actual games and scrims. They are so well prepared, they must have definitely known that these C4s were going to come out, so they knew that they had to counter them. And Fnatic, conversely, they knew that Aerowolf will come chasing them. And once you have Virtue on the roam downstairs together with Specca, the newest member, they work so well together. They won the MEO.
And if you want me to simplify what I saw in that round, it was basically Fnatic have 2 players downstairs with those C4s to engage that vertical play if Aerowolf decide to rush in, get a plant down on the objective. And the other thing that Fnatic did, the really crucial thing, is that they had all of their players on site or near site holding angles to assist those defenders downstairs, namely that position on the red stairs, completely covering that hallway push-in from Memorial up towards Library and Piano. Really nice work there from Fnatic, always covering their teammates' backs. That's what we know this team for. Fnatic are the team that work together, that have that level of chemistry. If you try to identify specific playstyle things about different teams, you might say, oh, this is the team that's really strat heavy, this is the team that's whatever, yada yada. Fnatic is the team that has their chemistry on point.
Yeah, and talking about chemistry, Rizraz has not quite been the best player on LAN, especially, you know, or just in general since the Season 9 finals. But if there ever was a time to turn up, that is today. And, you know, Fnatic may need him, you know, given how close the games usually are.
Rizraz has always been a really strong player. He was always been a really good fragger. Yeah, as you mentioned, Specca used his C4 already, pre-placed it, as you can see on that ping in the bathroom. Rizraz, I definitely think he can step it up. He mainly just gets overshadowed by the likes of Virtue, who obviously is one of the best players in the world, so difficult to really contest with that. Nonetheless, I digress. It is a statuary and trophy defense now. Ysera using the Nomad, a great operator choice on this bomb site, as you can completely prevent any kind of aggression into the master bedroom or the bathroom. However, they will have to deal with that pre-placed C4. Ideally, it'd be Hysterics using his gadget to locate that, but he's currently on the other side of the map. And if Aerowolf do later in the round try to move into that bathroom, try to break open that barricade on the doorway into Astro, it could certainly be to their demise.
Now this is, oh, there we go. Hysterics is the first kill onto Magnet, repelling upside down. The Maestro off the board, not an operator you want gone early because of his evil eyes and his late game potential. So Magnet perhaps playing that a bit too aggressively. Luna Metal gets some damage taken on him. And this is a bit of a weaker side for Fnatic, and this is a very nice angle that Luna Metal's opening up onto the Astronomy stairs. Not sure if the debris is blocking him, but Hysterics, he gets second. Specca goes down. Rizraz finally shuts him down, but half the round has elapsed, and now it's Aerowolf in a very good position to close this out.
Still, they have to pinch these players. They only have that one-man advantage so far. Rizraz has no more bandit batteries to trick this wall, and Fnatic are just lying in wait. They're not overextending as of yet. Virtue has a really strong position on the Astro stairs. Aggression from Rizraz. He knows his team's a man down. He has to make good on that. He has to get regain the footing for Fnatic, but he's being put under the pump right now, droned out from several angles. He wants to take this fight. Is he looking the right way? No, he's not. Mental finds that pick, and now Aerowolf in a 4 versus 2, but you can never call it until Virtue is on the floor. Lusty as well to support. Virtue starts to push up aggressively. The plant going down, and it gets secured. Never doubt Virtue in these post plants. However, Buddy gets taken down, and a full closeout. Aerowolf, a fantastic round in response to Fnatic's.
Yeah, now that is a statistically weaker bomb site for Fnatic, as we have seen in the past. And it was an excellent roam clear, well, not really a roam clear, it was just an excellent take from Aerowolf. They focused on what was necessary. They got the master bedroom control. They opened up the holes in the walls, and Luna Metal did so much damage from that. It closed off so many angles for the Anchors and the roamers, and Rizraz, you could see he was so uncomfortable, and when he peeked, Mentalist was just hiding over at the side, and I thought, you know, Rizraz was going to pre-fire it, but clearly the information wasn't there, and perhaps, you know, this is one scenario where you want your Maestro on close to sight and perhaps using those evil eyes.
Something really basic that we see often in Rainbow Six, not even just in competitive play, but in the game in general, when your team is at a deficit, at a disadvantage, maybe a numbers disadvantage, that's actually, you might think, okay, that's when you want to play passive. You don't want to let the lead slide anymore, but actually, you want to play even more aggressive because you need to fight for that that next step, that regaining that and spearheading that composure. You don't want to let the enemy team really get their footing and you know, absolutely move over you. So I liked that idea from Rizraz, but yeah, it wasn't to work, and Aerowolf were absolutely prepared for that. They used their time efficiently, and yeah, I like what I saw. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
Fnatic will retry the same bomb site, and looks like they'll try a similar setup, have this south side presence as well.
Yeah, what hurt them as well was that the C4s all fell away. They only had Spectre on the C4, I believe, and Rizraz was just not in a good position to try and deny the plant because he fell, and that's when the side control went to Aerowolf. So it's going to be important for him to stay alive this time, and Spectre perhaps not using his pre-play C4 this time around. That might be a better choice, though he is going to get very, very aggressive on the roam here, and soon they might see an engagement.
Looking for drones at the moment, making sure they're not aware of his position downstairs. Something else to note is that south side presence with bandit batteries to cover inside of AVG. With Thatcher banned, Rizraz doesn't have to actively bandit trick those, he just places them down. But it's Spectre we've got our eyes on at the moment, roaming downstairs. Aerowolf needs to be careful not to get exposed and move into master bedroom, be vulnerable to that C4 nice and early on. Spectre will pre-place it. Likely has a camera to help for information, or one of Lusty's pests, hacked drones.
Yeah, that's going to be important. That information game is something that Fnatic always loves to bring. You can see that's 3 info operators, and the other 2 are just allowed to, you know, utility-wise, of course, you talked about Jaeger and, of course, Bandit, but those are great fragging operators as well. Now, Luna Metal, he likes his hard breach operators, allows him to take a bit more passive role as the in-game leader. Mentalist, though, he's on the Dokkaebius. That's not something you see very, very often, but it's something that fits his playstyle so well that I'm surprised we haven't seen it more.
It was also a 6 pick as well, so Fnatic not likely aware of this Dokkaebi pick. Dokkaebi now has grenades in one of the more recent updates to the game as well. Can dislodge some of these key positions, but Lusty has a very cheeky position. Spectre as well to support. Spectre has traded his position now, moved over the Astro stairs instead of downstairs. We still have those 2 players on the south side holding as well, but it looks like Aero are focusing more so on this Astronomy push. 2 players ready to receive. The utility goes out, but there's no follow-through from Aerowolf.
Yeah, this time they are taking it a lot slower than they did in the previous round, and I think Spectre's pre-play C4 did explode. Nothing really happened. Now, Fragment goes out, and it's going to be engagement right away. Hysteric's going to win that out. Spectre goes down to a nice headshot, now pushing up the Astro stairs. They have full control, and he's going to lose that fight as well. Lusty, Hysteric's just going crazy right now in these 2 rounds, and 30 seconds left to go. This is when push comes to shove. Magnet is going to be imperative in holding Aerowolf off.
Magnet has to delay as much time as possible, but it's Rizraz who steps up. Just Virtue and him left, all on Rizraz now. Holding on the objective, he finds his second. 3 more to go, he'll have to waste this or hold for another 18 seconds. His phone ringing, but that stops another one. Again, poor Rizraz under the pump. Holding on, he gets another kill. That's 3 for Rizraz, 4K for Rizraz. Can he find the ace? No, it gets denied. And Aerowolf just steal away that round.
What were Aerowolf doing? They had the other bomb site. Just rotate. You have 4 members, right? Just take your diffuser. You have 20 seconds. There's a 3-speed, there are 2 3-speeds on the board. Take your diffusers, go to the other side. Rizraz doesn't have a C4. Even if he does, there's only 1 C4 that he has. And they just pushed him one by one by one. They thought the flashbangs would do the job. They clearly weren't doing the job. He got 1, he got 2. You got to think of something. And this is a problem I've seen with Aerowolf time and again. I cast them in the Southeast Asian Pro League. And the reason they drop maps to teams such as Next Esports or the now disqualified Script Esports is because they always find this, you know, I don't know what gets into their head, but they become very singularly focused on pushing 1 angle.
They try to refrag it out instead of trying to establish more crossfires, maybe force a plant down and put the enemy into the position where they have to make the move. Aerowolf try to make the move themselves. Instead of saying, okay, we're going to plant the diffuser, what's your move? They say, okay, no, we're going to try to push you, what's your move? Well, if you've got a player like Rizraz with a weapon like the MP7, his move is to almost ace you. And that got way too close for comfort.
The only reason Aerowolf won that because Rizraz ran out of bullets. Literally the only. Imagine if it was Maestro.
Magnet. Yeah, if it was Magnet, then might have been a different story.
Win.
Yeah, so Fnatic have 2 unsuccessful defenses over on that statuary side. They'll move up and change over here back to Aviator where they won previously. It's quite a good round last time they played it with this roam downstairs, and they changed up some of their operators, no longer bringing the mute. or the Mozzie that they brought in the previous round. So that information will be a little bit easier for Aerowolf to gain.
Nevertheless, Fnatic having multiple strategies for this bomb set, very important because, you know, if you try and reuse the same strategy when the teams are so evenly matched, you are going to lose it out the second time because Aerowolf will definitely be making adjustments and Hysterics will be here on the roam clear. So the first time around, this is what really lost them the round. The roam clear was very poor, but this time it's actually really just Virtue alone. Now let's not forget, Virtue alone can do it. But oh, great pre-fire from Speakeasy. Spectre goes down, and that's a Valkyrie.
Another one!
Another! Speakeasy, he's going crazy. And what is Fnatic doing? This is something very weird. Usually Fnatic wait for the push.
A lot of aggression there from Speakeasy, and it's worked out perfectly. He establishes that really aggressive position. He has control of classical hallway now. Fnatic, they lost that first player. They really thought they were desperate for that refrag. They thought they needed it. Speakeasy now spots out the Maestro as well, and another player at 90. Really good start here for Aerowolf, getting all the information that they need. Now that they know there's only one other player they have to deal with, they locate that player, and they can probe the weaknesses that Fnatic have in their defense. And there's so much time for Aerowolf to do that.
Indeed, and you know, the reason they were pinging that Jaeger, usually you don't want that ping to come out, but it's really to chase him away, and what a beautiful combo. Mentally he takes down one, but loses his life on the refrag. Magnet's so low, however, and that might just have been worth it, but you've lost fire bolts and smoke bolts. Virtue's alone on the roam below, so if they hit the site right now, there's no C4 to deny them, and it's just a very, very angry Virtue. Now, he can do 1v4 clutches. We've seen him do it time and again, but right now he's coming up. The drone calls it out. You can hear it, and there we go. Luna Metal takes him down. It's just a very low HP Magnet on site. 1 minute left to go. So much time.
And he gets droned out as well. They know his exact position. Now, the Maestro, never an operator you want to underestimate with so much ammunition in the Older. And they're just going to bait him. They want him to pre-fire as much as possible. Hysterics doesn't give a damn, and he just peeks on, finds that kill.
Did you hear the call from Mentalist on that?
No.
Let me tell you what it was. Star, star, star him. He's so loud from here, and he just went, let's do it. You know, this is obviously it's a double-edged sword. As we talked in the previous round, they're so, you know, that was a 1v4 again. We talked about Magnet being in a 1v4 this time. He couldn't hold on, but, you know, this is something that works out well for them sometimes, but it can be the downfall as well. And now, they are in a 3-1 lead right now on attack on Villa. So that's a big thing.
Villa does have a lot of defense potential. We see it very commonly defensive favored, but I don't like to make statements like that because these things swing so commonly, especially with operator bans as well. The thing that's highlighting to me is Aerowolf are doing so well despite that Monty ban. It's not at all phasing them right now. Because Aerowolf, they revert to the Monty when times are tough, and that times just haven't been tough yet. Aerowolf are looking so good. They have a perfect read onto Fnatic. The one thing I will say is a redeeming factor for Fnatic is they are absolutely a team that makes these adaptations. When the chips are down, Fnatic know how to overcome them. They figure out what is it that the enemy are doing that's giving us a really hard time. Let's counter that and make it work for our team.
Yeah, in APAC, if there's one team where you say it's not over until it's over, it is Fnatic. We've seen them make the comeback happen this season against Wildcard Gaming. It was a 6-4 on Coastline and then a 6-3 on Villa. And in both the maps, they came back to make it a draw. So Aerowolf, on the other hand, these guys actually struggle to hold on to these advantages. So even though it is, you know, attacking advantage and it's a 3-1 advantage, we might just see Aerowolf just unable to hold on, because when the tide shifts, it's very sudden.
It's a perfect recipe for Fnatic at the moment. Even though they are in the disadvantage at the moment, we don't want to jump to conclusions because we know these teams well enough to doubt that assumption. Very aggressive push early on from Aero as well. Really good time management once again. Only 30 seconds down. Speakeasy is once again in this very aggressive position. He's going to keep getting aggressive. Oh, but he loses the fight for the first time. Lusty taken low, but that's a big pick for Fnatic, shutting down that aggression from Aerowolf and Luna as well. Lusty gets that one.
Yeah, Luna Metal from below. He's taken out Lusty. Mentalist is going to scan one. That's Becca, who he has detected. And it's a library living room defense from Fnatic. And this is a bomb site generally you don't want to be going onto, and it's in fact a bomb site that Fnatic has not defended at all this season, but they saw how badly they were being destroyed on Aviator and Games, even though that 1v4 nearly came off. They're like, all right, we need to change things up. Library is, might as well give it a shot. Now, moving on, it's a 4v3 down, half the round still left to go. Mentalist is still up. Hysterics, who's been going crazy, at least in rounds 2 and 3, he is still there. And Ysera, so this is the trio you want for fragging, really, from Aerowolf.
We have lost a lot of really good utility from Aero, however. Fnatic still have that really good control upstairs in Gun Vault and in the pool room, games room. Really good start here for Fnatic. Ysera has to make an entry here if they want to clear out this top floor, and it's so difficult to take this bomb site if they don't. And there's the pick for Rizraz on the objective. Shuts down Mental, just Hysterics and Ysera left, and they'll try to focus upstairs here, but these Legion Mines will certainly make it difficult. Hysterics just wants to send it. He gets taken down. Could this be a near flawless round? Ysera can salvage 1 kill, and he has a lot of time to play with here.
Still winnable, but because you are facing defenders don't need to peek you. And Fnatic, as we mentioned previously, they are not the kind of team to go frag chasing in these kinds of scenarios. Aerowolf might have been, but let's see what happens. It's very, very unlikely. 25 HP for Ysera. The time is ticking away. He has no info. He's just face checking everything. There's nothing else he really can do.
He's on camera right now as well.
Yeah,
he spots that Valk cam out
for the camera, and he's gonna send out a flashbang, take out the barbed wire. But whatever the case, he's going to run out of time anyway. Sends one air jab in, is missed. It's on the doorway. And eventually, Fnatic close things out. So they're getting closer to making this at least a drawn defensive half. And the choice to go to Library Living Room works out well.
Yeah, good way to get back on their feet there for Fnatic, take it to a bit of a different bomb site. And to me, that really hedged on those early picks. Rizraz finding 2. I'm pretty sure it was a trade between Rizraz and Lunametal, if I'm not wrong, through that Maverick call. I'm actually impressed that Lunametal even managed to get that shot, because it didn't look like it from his point of view. So I think that's really the what started the snowball effect there for Fnatic. They found those 2 early picks, and most importantly, after they had those 2 early picks, they still had that control upstairs. So Fnatic are starting to read into what Aerowolf have been doing, getting Speakeasy really aggressive really early and cutting off some of these key positions. The good read from Fnatic is preventing Aerowolf from making that work time and time again.
So one thing we saw last time from Aerowolf and Fnatic when they last played in Season 9 is that these guys used to take quasi-tactical timeouts in the game. So like when you're in a 1v4 or 1v5, you're really not going to win this. Then they just go over to the roof and just sit down and talk it through. And we saw a lot of that in the previous APAC finals.
Yeah.
Spectacularly more than you're used to seeing. So interesting that they didn't go for it. Ysera clearly thought he was capable of making that happen. But, well, all's well that's done well for Fnatic. And still have one more round to tie it up.
Yeah, that's right. Now Fnatic will rotate down onto the 4th and final bomb site they have attempted so far. This time it is Kitchen. This is another bomb site usually held from upstairs, with this trophy room, and Astro in particular being a point of heavy contest. Memorial as well, so Magnus going to shut down that with some goo mines. Aerowolf looks like once again they're going to start from this south side of the map. Magnet trying to make their progress a little bit slower with some barricades, but he's lucky he didn't get caught in the crossfire from Mental. So this good aggression early on from Aerowolf.
Yeah, very important. And, this is a bomb site, actually, that they have had more success on in the Pro League than Statuary and Trophy. So interesting that they tried Statuary Trophy twice, and only now that they're going over to Kitchen and Dining. Now, Speakeasy's going to have his progress impeded by that Mozzie Pest, so he can't get as aggressive as he usually is. And in fact, he's still at spawn, droning in the rest of his team, so a bit of a switch up from the previous rounds. Ysera also helping with the drones. I think he might have lost his drone or definitely avoided it. But Lusty over here is going to face the push immediately on. And as a Mozzie, I'm not too sure you want to be doing that. But to be fair, you've got a great gun, you've got a C4, and you can make rotations to escape if...
Oh, that's a nasty angle from Lusty. Does get that drone. It's immediately taken out by Aerowolf as they start to push in this master bedroom. Typically, as the attacking team, you take control of this top floor so that you can enable that vertical play, but Speakeasy knows he has to clear it out first. It looks like Fnatic have evacuated this top floor. Perfect timing for it, as well as Aerowolf happened to push in at the exact same time. A lot of good control now for Aerowolf, but they have to start opening up the floor and taking out these players on site. They're sitting ducks right now if Aerowolf are ready to open up this floor.
Now, Specca once again detonating his C4 to no avail, and you heard that happen. And this is when Aerowolf doesn't really do well. They are good at taking control, and they are very practiced at it. But when time runs down, and there's a lot of players still left alive, it becomes very chaotic, and Aerowolf does not thrive in chaos.
Time is ticking away for Aerowolf. They haven't eliminated these players on site. Rizraz with a C4 prepped and ready. Where is he this for? Is this for the vertical play? Samoil's opened up, and Hysteric's the first one to fall in this round. 35 seconds left. Fnatic looking really good at the moment. Aerowolf don't have that much control. They haven't eliminated very many players, well, any players at all from Fnatic, and they're only just starting to put pressure on them on side. But Specca falls. 22 seconds remaining, and Aerowolf have to absolutely explode into the bomb site. Luna's just going to keep opening up the wall for picks, but there's surely no time to make this happen. Fnatic will just wait with their guns ready to take these gunfights. Aerowolf, all the pressure is on them to make this happen, but Speakeasy is a good entry. Rizraz can find one, but there's only two left on Fnatic. Aerowolf time is ticking away. The plant's going to go down. Rizraz, can he get out with a C4? A good shot. Luna Metal has to hold it for the team, but a clutch from Virtue makes it happen for Fnatic.
Who else but Virtue could it be? Really excellent stuff from Aerowolf in the very final few seconds, but once the plant was stuck, once it hit 0-0-0, it was all Virtue's show. And that's the problem when you spend so much time on the roam clear and you aren't as efficient as you should be. When Virtue is left alive at the end, you get put in a very, very pressure situation. Very high pressure situation, and you're gonna struggle to do anything. Luna Metal, that kill onto Rizraz was incredible, but Luna Metal's no Virtue.
Yeah, Rizraz, I think, is a player that we really need to commend there because he delayed so much time. He got 2 entry picks onto those players moving into the bomb site, so there was only 2 left. The great thing when you're defending and there's no time left, even if you're in a numbers disadvantage, you know that one of the enemy players has to be planting. Rizraz was going for that diffuser to plant denial, but even Virtue, right? He only had to actually find 1 kill then. And then it was a 1v1 against the guy who's planting the diffuser and can't get off. So that's essentially a free win. Really good round from Rizraz and Virtue to hold it out in the wee moments of that round. I really like what I'm seeing from Fnatic to take it back, win the last 2 rounds of their defensive half, make the adaptations they need to win those bottom floor bomb sites. But now, of course, we do switch over.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, previously in the round that Aerowolf was winning, it was really the opening picks that were driving the game forward for them. And you talked about this, when they get the early picks, they get put in such a comfortable position. But when the table is turned, when Fnatic gets the initial kill, that becomes very, very strong, because the stats are, when Fnatic gets his opening kills, 72% of the time they're going to win the round if the kill goes untraded. So trade has a small window, so 72% time they're going to win. And if they lose the opening duel, they're still going to win 56% of the time. Still higher than 50%, so that's crazy.
Yeah, of course, that is all stats from the local pro leagues, and Fnatic had a really good performance in the local pro league ANZ. Maybe not as dominant as some would expect, but they did overall have a very good win ratio, so that does skew those results. Now, as Aerowolf try their first defense, it is on Aviator Games Room, just as Fnatic took as their primary bomb site. It is Fnatic who will begin taking from this south side of the map. There is a good early peek from Speakeasy. Luna jumps on it as well with the pulse shotgun of all weapons. I like this early start from Aerowolf, and another one to add to it. They're completely styling on Fnatic right now, and just Rizraz and Lusty will have to recompose here.
To speak, Easy and Hysterics have been the main drivers of these rounds. Every time the Aerowolf has won a round, it has been off the backs of these 2 players. And why not? These are 2 of the strongest fraggers, and possibly in the entirety of Southeast Asia, I would say. So, Lusty, of course, he is crazy good on the Hibana as well, but they are attacking, and half the round has elapsed. They've lost 3 members, only done about 50 HP of damage onto Ysera. So, not looking very, very good. And Speakeasy's looking so comfortable on the Jaeger right now. He's going to get 1 more. It's a triple kill for him. Looking for that 4th. Rizraz is above. They hear his footsteps, but he's likely not going to fight Speakeasy.
1 versus 5. The F2 is good, but surely not good enough. He can find one, but he'll get immediately traded out. Aerowolf, a really good start, picking apart Fnatic on that roam, and that just led to the victory shutdown of Fnatic.
Once again, you know, they immediately pushed in for the trade. Of course, they won it, but you know, in the round 2, I think round 2, Rizraz nearly won out that 1v4 because of the same desire to get the refrag immediately.
It's a bit different because just then Aerowolf were on the defense, a 5v1, and there was plenty of time for Rizraz. I don't think they wanted to let Rizraz find these 1 picks at a time. You know, when you're in those 1vx's, what you want is give me 1 pick, give me another pick, give me another pick. That's when you're attacking. When you're defending, what you want is you want them to feed you.
True. But at the same time, really how you want to play a 1vx is hold crossfires, get the information on this player rather than peek 1v1, because that was still a 1v1 peek. Yeah. So that's the stuff that Rizraz excels in.
Yeah, I mean, it does depend a little bit. Sometimes it comes down to micro decisions. How much have they already pre-fired? How much ammunition do they have in the magazine? How many players do you have on your team? So if you do die, it's not too much of a risk, etc., etc. How much time are you delaying? Anyhow, it is now Aerowolf defending this statuary bomb site. They successfully attacked it twice. Fnatic didn't have very much luck defending that site. We saw Fnatic routinely extend out onto this south side. It looks like Aerowolf will be doing the same. Ysera and Speakeasy are reinforcing these key walls. They have a mute as well. I don't believe they'll be using mute jammers on that side, however. As Thatcher is banned, it's really a prime time to engage in mute jammers, banner batteries, and wall denial, as it's much more difficult to get rid of that. Aerowolf brought the Maverick to counter all of that utility. They banned Thatcher and they're playing a lot of Maverick. Fnatic haven't been playing that Maverick as of yet.
Yeah, well, it's only 2 rounds into the attack, but you know, I wanted to note that Ysera has gone on to the Jaeger. He's going to be assisting in this room, and Hysterics, on the other hand, he'll be giving the information game this time around with the Pulse. Luna Metal on the Maestro, so there's a lot of shuffling going around with the Aerowolf roles, but these are roles tailored for each bomb site, and that's the beauty of Aerowolf, and you know, even Fnatic can do it to a degree, but Aerowolf is the one team that does it all the time. It's all based on which side you're playing. That is the operator you're going to be playing. It doesn't matter what kind of role you're fulfilling. It could be completely different, like the Pulse versus the Maestro. So now, Hibana will open up the nice little hole for Specker. Not going to find anything yet.
This is a great position for Speakeasy. Does have really good pre-fire with the pistol. Using the FO12, a great weapon in close range, is that auto shotty. Fnatic trying to pincer these players. Relocates to a more aggressive position, but he's not going to use it for now. He knows he can't expose himself to this angle being used by Specker. A good crossfire and patience being employed by Aerowolf at the moment. Speakeasy needs to find this engagement. And if the angle is taken really shallow, he may well lose it. He's going to sit here, use the deployable shield. The deployable shield likely to get destroyed in a moment. The pre-fires come out. Surely they'll peek him now, but he's still alive. So much time being wasted here from Speakeasy. Can he even find a pick? He does. Good night, Lusty. Another one! See you later, Specker. There are a few refrags coming out from Fnatic, but Aerowolf is doing so well, and just Rizraz and Magnet to hold on.
This has just turned on its head right away. Ysera gets one more, and this is working out beautifully for him. Magnet takes some damage. He doesn't even know where from. And, well, pistol comes out, and that's not a weapon you want in this close-range engagement. He's going to miss all his shots, and that's going to be left and right, left and right. Aerowolf are taking rounds left and right.
Things are looking so good for Aerowolf right now. We got a little bit worried after Fnatic regained their momentum on the defensive side and stepped up. Managed to equal the half, 3-3. We thought, okay, Fnatic, they're a team we know, they make their adaptations. Maybe this isn't all cut and dried. But Aerowolf have absolutely started off with a bang on their defense, and it looks like that's not stopping anytime soon. We really need to see some more of that adaptation game from Fnatic.
Talking about adaptation game once again, different bomb site, different roles. Luna Middle back on the Pulse. Mentalist now going on the Morsey, and the operator we are seeing for the first time from Aerowolf. Rizraz, he's going on the Ashe. 6 picks from the Twitch to the Ashe. Very interesting choice from this. It's usually something that you won't really see happening unless you feel like you're not performing. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, Ashe is a really good operator for fragging. That's what we always talk about. She does have some really good utility too. And the thing about Ashe that really makes her uniquely great is everything complements it. You've got stun grenades for an entry. You can waste ADSs with your stun grenades and then use your Viper Strike or the a breaching round. You've got a great gun, especially in close range if you run the R4C with a one-time sight. Perfect for entry fragging. Those one-time sights are really good. We saw how well Hysterix used it when he was playing the Commando with the Hollow on his attacking half. So, yes, I think maybe it's just Fnatic. They feel like they need a bit more confidence on these entries because, let's say, trying to push out Speakeasy from that position on the deployable shield last time around, Fnatic, surely it wouldn't... surely that can't work again. Fnatic need a bit more confidence.
Now, Hysterix, he's on the Ela. It's an operator he's very, very comfortable with, very familiar with. There's a lot of Ela play that has come out from him in the past, but not recently. So we're going to have to see how this all works out. Aerowolf are in a very, very strong position, as we talked about. And Lunametal on this pulse, it's something that is so powerful because he is the in-game leader. So getting the information on right away, he can coordinate the entire defense based on this information he's getting. Mentalist, of course, he helps out as the secondary IGL, but right now it's going to be all up to Luna to direct this defense.
So much information gathering for Aerowolf right now. Aerowolf are a team that love to use that Ela as well, which is great for that information gathering. Just like Legion, those traps give you information, and Rizraz with the R4C no less finds that first pick. Great job with that reflex on the R4C, shutting down that aggression from Aerowolf. They've got that first pick they needed, but there's still a lot more work to do, as this is only the top floor that Fnatic are currently contesting.
Oh, hello! He just walks right into it. He is traded back his Virtue, but that is a loss that you really did not want happening. The Goo Mines are not going to be put out by Ysera again. And the choice of Speakeasy on mute, perhaps not the best idea. And Hysterix trades it back. And Magnet, he's just walked right by. How are these two guys ignoring each other? Lunametal, you scanned him on the pulse scanner. And they're just going head to tail. The drone has seen you, Lunametal. And he's going to get hit by the air jab. That's actually going to save his life. Unbelievably. Now, he knows that Magnet is holding this. He's going to lose a fight nonetheless. And it's all up to Mentalist, who gets hit by a Claymore. And Fnatic, finally, they stem the flow of rounds going towards Aerowolf, get one more back.
Good job to get back on their feet there for Fnatic. Yeah, nice early pick there. It really cascaded. Things have absolutely worked well for Aerowolf up until this point. A lot of aggression as well, but I gotta say, you gotta be happy right now if you're Fnatic. This isn't too bad a performance thus far, and they have made that round difference a lot closer with that win here. Now, Fnatic will be attacking bomb sites they have already successfully attacked. On the flip side, Aerowolf can go back to their strongest bomb sites. Bit of a two-faced coin there. Even if Aerowolf get this one, I have no doubts Fnatic will be pushing for that overtime.
So you guys will have noticed that Virtue isn't like, you know, ripping through teams, right? Ripping through Aerowolf like he does to many, many teams. And that's fine right now because Fnatic are really not that far behind. And if Rizraz wakes up, we talked about this. This is where he woke up last season. And it looks like he's woken up this season as well. On the Ashe, he got that first pick. And we talked about statistics. Yes, they're limited to Rally and the local Pro League. But, you know, you can't discount those teams as well, especially against Wildcard. Getting that first pick is so vital in all forms of the game, in all regions. Your win rate shoots up to 67% or 69%, about there, when you get the first pick off.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Yeah, teams that do find that first pick often cascade, but count out either of these teams to make a bounce back maneuver. It is Aviator Games Room for Aerowolf once again. Last time they won this bomb site, they got so many early cheeky picks on this roam game, and Fnatic absolutely fell apart. Fnatic can likely play a little bit slower if they do decide to take Master as they attempted last time. Now, looks like actually they're just mostly watching this south side, going for a study push.
Yeah, exactly. Rizraz, he is very important in this push. Mentalist is going to be receiving it. Not going to find the early pick as he did just yet because Speakeasy got too aggressive on the mute, no less. Perhaps more used to operators like Jaeger, which he is on right now. He's on a deep roam in the first floor. some teams have begun using the basement of Villa as a way to rotate safely, and some teams go frag chasing. Fnatic are one of those that clear out the basement if they realize a roamer is there. The problem is, they have never seen Aerowolf play Villa at all this season, so they have no idea what to expect, and that's something that's going to factor in very greatly in that Aerowolf has some Villa maps for Fnatic to study. Fnatic have nothing on Aerowolf on Villa, aside from scrims, of course.
That's right, a lot of information to be gathered in scrims, but mainly it's those competitive games from the Pro League that you'd be looking at. Aerowolf holding steadfast at the moment. Fnatic doesn't look like they're dedicating entirely to one specific push thus far. Lunametal's still running that shotgun, not something we see every day. Actually one of the worst shotguns on defense, but I'm sure Lunametal would love to argue about that. Shotguns are very situational, and if he does take the right fights, it could work out. Spectre knifed
his IQ, thinking it was an enemy. But it's all okay. There are no knife team kills. But yeah, you know, Raven and I were talking about the pulse shotgun yesterday, and we said that the pulse shotgun, I think you were there too, Dev, that the pulse shotgun is really the best weapon for a pulse. You can put it away and bang, bang, goes through the wall, and you take down an opponent very, very quickly. Semi-auto works just perfectly for that engagement. You don't want to be using it like other shotguns. It's a different playstyle. It's not like Ella's playstyle as well. It's not like the pump action of the SAS operators. But now it's ticking down to the final 30 seconds. Hysterics just gets too aggressive. Spectre punishes him. Finally a kill. But this is when, you know, Fnatic don't really get many successful plants. It's a very, very long run out from Speakeasy. He's far away from sight. He needs to come back. Now they know there's only 3 members of Aerowolf on site. Information being fed to his teammates by Lunametal. The plant is going down, but it's a bait. Spec, he's going to take one down. Ysera coming back. He's going to get hit, Speakeasy, by the air jab. Lusty takes down one more, and this plant is successful. All too easy.
Very good start for Fnatic, and it looks like they're ready to close this out, tie things up 5-5. Virtue looking for this close-range engagement, but he loses it. Speakeasy's been on fire today. Looking for another peek, and Ysera does take out that player on the bomb side. Just 2 left, and Ysera can't close it out. Fnatic tie us in this match 5-5.
So, too many targets for Ysera to deal with at the end, and of course, this is exactly what you expect from Fnatic. Down 5-3, you can never count them out. Down 6-3, 6-1, whatever the case, you always gotta expect that Fnatic come back, and look at the way that they've done it. Very strong and confident rounds. They have beaten Aerowolf at their own game right now with their aggression, and they just waited, played it a bit more passively, and Aerowolf got antsy at the end. Hysterics pushing out like that, just giving a free kill away to Spectre, and that really hurt them because Maestro with the LMG on site could have helped up so much more.
If there's any story that we can say so far what we've seen in these rounds, it's that little mistakes mean so much. The rounds where Fnatic have pushed in early and we've seen a cheeky angle from one of the Aerowolf players with a bullet hole find an early pick, that has cascaded for the whole round, and it was the same like you said. It's such minor details for Aerowolf that's slipping these last 2 rounds away. Now this is Fnatic's map pick, and they are starting to look like it. As they hit their stride here, they decided to play a little bit more. I think they realized, okay, we're losing a lot of fights here. We are being a little bit sometimes careless on our entries. We're losing the cheeky angles. We don't have the confidence to take these gunfights. And that's what Fnatic are meant to do. Fnatic are a team where we know they have insane aim. They are really good fraggers. They've added another fragger to their roster here with Spectre coming in for aces. And Rizraz now switched onto the Ash, says, guys, look, I just need to feel comfortable. I'm going to frag out, and it'll all be good from there. It reminds me of something that Spectre told me at Six Masters Finals at MEO. Spectre said, look, the pressure sometimes, yeah, it's there, but I know as soon as I get that first pick, I'm all good. I'm all set for the series.
Yeah, of course, even the best get nervous at times, and you know, we kind of saw that from Fnatic at Rally. It just couldn't turn on, and Virtue going cold was a big part of the reason why they struggled so much, because in the wildcard game in the Pro League, it was really Virtue just dragging Fnatic along, and he made sure that they got 2 points out of that series. Now, Ysera, he's on a roam here with the mute SMG-11 plus shotgun combo. Hysterics making some artwork inside of the walls, and this artwork is actually a lot more important than you realize. It's good to throw off the attackers, and then when you peek through a bullet hole, for example, you don't know where the shot's coming from.
Yeah, those paintings can be very frustrating when they're right in your way, but very useful when they hide your position from the enemy.
Aviator games again from these guys, and now look at that. Magnet, he's gonna go for the bottom roam clear, and we've seen that time and again from Fnatic here on Villa. He's gonna blow open the door and actually just piece on out of there. There's no roamer from Aerowolf in the basement. It's not something the Aerowolf do when, you know, when we've last seen them play Villa, and you can see that Luna Metal on the Pulse has been spotted out by Virtue. Not gonna be able to do any damage either way. Rizraz still holding the angle, and Ash is a great operator to hold the angle because 3-speed, great gun, she can make her way back onto the site the moment you call her.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Luna's trying to gather this information as much as he can inside of Gun Vault. Mental holding these aggressive angles from Games Room. That's a long one as well, all the way onto the door of the objective north side. Speakeasy playing around 90. Hallway, he's taking a lot of fights, but he does get lit up very much so. Spectre decides to get more aggressive on that. Speakeasy rotates top. Oh, nice job from Ysera. Was that a pre-place? No, he was rotated below. Got that initial C4 pick onto Spectre. And Speakeasy for one as well, holding that study stairs. Lusty wasn't aware. There is a good refrag there from Rizraz on the east study window, but now the push is mainly coming in from this north door into the objective. Virtue knows that Pulse is right there, knows he's going to be calling out for those positions of those enemy players. And of course, Luna Metal should still have his C4 in tow as well. Rizraz knows he needs to get aggressive, needs to make an opening for Fnatic as they are on the back foot and there's 30 seconds left.
This is where Fnatic needs to really step it up, and they have Virtue on board right away, so that's going to be helpful. Rizraz on the Ash as well, they're really going to be the drivers of this. Oh, the timing on that, he almost saw the feet off, I believe it was Luna Metal, and he's not going to expose himself any further. 15 seconds, this is going to be a crazy fast push, and C4s are going to be vital in this. Luna Metal is going to go long, try and get the C4. Previously, he was denied by Spectre.
No!
The C4 is really poorly timed, and the diffuser, he's going down, but he's going to get off. One more down, but it's just one member left, and a very, very nice round from Aerowolf at the very end. This is what Fnatic usually struggles with, at least in statistics-wise, because when they are down to these 30 seconds, you look at the graph of how their plants go, the plant just plummets to 0 in these final few seconds. They'll try the execute, but they're usually not successful.
It was a good start for Fnatic, that's the thing. They started moving in, and when they lost Spectre to the C4 from below, and when Speakeasy got away, it was allowed to rotate towards Study, pick off Lusty. That was where things started to look like a problem for Fnatic, especially because they didn't have really any method of hard countering some of these things that Aerowolf put forward, namely the Pulse. They could see that the Pulse was there. They had the IQ, saw the Pulse in Gun Vault, knew that Aerowolf would have all the information they needed onto the bomb plant. But despite that, Fnatic didn't have anything they could actually do to that Pulse. Thatcher is banned. They can't disable that Pulse scanner for a certain amount of time to steal away that information from Aerowolf. And despite a poor C4 from Luna Metal, things were just, they were written that way for Aerowolf. There wasn't a lot that Fnatic could have done there other than just really try to clear out the site, play aggressive, and frag out. They almost made that work, and it did end up very close. But now we are staring down match point, Aerowolf on Fnatic's map pick.
Indeed, Thatcher ban is something the Aerowolf are very comfortable with. Usually you see them bring out the Thatcher ban on Cafe, and in the past it's worked out against them, especially one of the matches that really stands out to me is against Cyclops. When they banned the Thatcher, they couldn't get the defensive advantage that they wanted, and then when they got on to attack, they were like, what do you do now? Like, they were stuck. 3 Thatcher bans in this season, and right now this is going to be one pivotal one, it seems.
Seems to be working very well for Aerowolf. It didn't seem to be much of a problem for them on their attack when they didn't have Thatcher use that Maverick to its fullest extent. Not something we've seen Fnatic pick at all yet. Crazy to think. Fnatic just going for a completely different idea. You know, they're not trying to do the same thing as Aerowolf, but the problem is it doesn't seem to be working consistently. Now, if there is any team that can equalize this, push overtime, it is Fnatic, but this could be the first time we've ever seen Aerowolf win the opening map in a series between these two teams.
Oh, never say never, and I think you've just jinxed it because I feel that overtime coming on.
You feel overtime?
It's just a perfect start,
All
isn't
right.
it?
So I'm the caster from ANZ, you're the cast from SEA, and here we are predicting each other's regions to win this map.
I mean, I think we see so much of each other's, of our own regions that we know the failings of each team, and we are more acutely focused on those, and that's why we think each other's team, you know, is going to be the one losing this round.
This does look like a good start for Fnatic there. They've opened up that study wall. Interestingly, Speakeasy does open that west side wall of games. They've been doing this time and time again. does expose an angle, and Fnatic do have the better weapons to take those fights with. Luna, though, on a long angle, holding down into study. There's tons of time left for Fnatic. And I think the next step is trying to find some of these early picks onto the games room side.
Now, previously when Aerowolf lost one of the defenses, you know, it was Speakeasy on the mute that kind of didn't allow him to take that aggressive gunfight. And this time it's going to be Hysterics falling, and that's a huge pick because there's a lot of information and a C4 taken off the board. Magnet down below, he's opening up the floor. Now, Speakeasy is going to be very, very important in this. How is he going to play this smoke? It's not an operator you can play akin to the other operators Speakeasy plays, like Sophia, Jaeger. You have to play it very patient. You have to play it close range because of SMG11, even if you're a pro, hard to do control.
Especially because he's used all of his gas canisters already. And the objective still being held fast by Aerowolf. Speakeasy wants to take these aggressive angles, but now he's in a bit of a pinch. Lunametal will try to help him out, hold this longer angle with the older. 40 seconds left. Fnatic in a 5 versus 4, just now starting to push onto Statuary. That's the bomb site itself.
I am genuinely surprised that Lunametal was holding it that way because that's a very common pre-fire angle, especially from someone like Virtue who was ready to push it at a moment's notice. But now it's 20 seconds left and flashbangs, frag grenades, everything's gonna fly in. And is he gonna down one? Is he gonna get a second? No! Yes, he is! This is looking over for Fnatic. 15 seconds, what can Rizraz do? He doesn't know where he's being shot from, and there's a lot of defensive utility on board. Lusty's gonna make it 2v3, but 7 seconds left to go. They don't have diffuser. Rizraz is gonna get down. Lusty on 1 HP and a dream. Can he do this? Is Aerowolf gonna push them? No, they're just gonna hold station, and it's gonna be Aerowolf taking the first map.
For the very first time in a best of 3 between these two teams, it's Aerowolf who comes out on top, at least for now. Map number 1, Fnatic's pick, and what a banger of a start.
Well, that certainly is an interesting one to keep an eye on, isn't it? And for Aerowolf, as you say, a fantastic start here in the first match of the Rainbow Six Pro League Season 10 APAC Finals. Perhaps the storyline does start to shift a little bit now for Fnatic. In previous history, when we've seen them go to these overtimes, to these closer results, it's always been Fnatic that have been able to get those 7-5s and get over the line. But now that shifts back on its head. Aerowolf get the win. What does that tell you, Infian? Is this going to be a problem for Fnatic, or are we still not quite there yet? Are they still feeling comfortable?
No, definitely not. You can never, ever, ever count out Fnatic, especially on an APAC final stage. We have seen this time again. You talked about how it always seems like Fnatic gets over the line in the end. Yeah, of course, the luck has to shift sometime towards Aerowolf's favor, but I just wanted to comment on the faces. You know, Aerowolf, they look so relieved in that segment because this is where it all falls apart for them usually.
Yeah, usually map number 1, Aerowolf really struggle with. They bring it back to map number 2, but they can't close it out. Now, Fnatic are a team that we know they always climb back from those deficits, and I absolutely thought that was looking like it might happen. Not to be, and I was super surprised to see that.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like you had a lot of faith in Fnatic, but to see that kind of a start for Aerowolf, that must have been not necessarily a cause for concern for Fnatic, but a nice sort of start for Aerowolf. To get off to that 3-1, did you kind of get those rumblings, get those feelings that maybe Aerowolf can actually do that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm starting to feel the Aerowolf train right now. The map phase I'm starting to think about in a more questionable way now. With Villa, as you mentioned before, Fnatic have quite a lot of odds on Villa. Even at the 6 Masters they played it, they in fact lost it to Oddity Esports in the quarterfinals. And Aerowolf, on the other hand, we don't quite know so much about them on this map. And then we pretty much know nothing, right?
Yeah.
Border is a second map coming up. That is Aerowolf's map pick, but it's a full chance that Fnatic actually have some things hidden up their sleeves for that one as well.
Ooh, what are your thoughts, Infian?
You know, when you said about the 3-1, this is where Aerowolf, as always, this is where they really lose the plot. They get an early advantage, then they get, you know, people know what they're doing, the enemies, they just figure them out, and Aerowolf usually can't do a counter adaptation of that. So this time, the way they counter adapted, if this is something that they can sustain in either map 2 or even map 3, this could be Aerowolf's series, but it's way too early to call this. Like, it's Fnatic.
I do just want to correct you, Dev. I'm fairly certain that Villa was Aerowolf's pick, as I've kind of chatted production as well.
Whoa,
so does that change your opinion at all for this second map going into the fact that Border would be Fnatic's choice then?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's a good look for Fnatic now, I guess, to some degree. We don't know as much about Border, so I don't want to write anything in stone just yet.
All right.
One thing I will... Oh, you look like
go
you
ahead, go ahead.
No, please, Jordan.
I was going to say, I'll give you some time to think. We're ready for an ad break, but if you've got something you want to just sneak in.
No, not at all.
All right, well, let's go ahead and give Dev a couple of minutes to have a think about what he feels for Border. We're going to head to a quick break. Don't go too far. Our second map coming up after this.